The essence of devotion to the Blessed Virgin, as stated earlier, consists in the interior practice of doing everything with Mary, through Mary, and in Mary. However, external practices are not without their value and usefulness, as they, explains the Saint of Montfort, help to stimulate fervor and interior devotion, allow us to remember what we have done and must do, and finally, are fit to edify the neighbor who sees them. Such practices, therefore, must not be neglected or omitted, on the pretext that true devotion resides only in the heart, apart from any sensible and external manifestation, but neither should they override interior practices, as if the mere repetition of words, the reciting of formulas, or wearing a few chains on the wrist were enough to make someone a true devotee of Our Lady, while the first and most important of these external practices is the Holy Rosary. It is the Virgin Mary herself who, in countless apparitions and private revelations, insists on the urgent need to pray it faithfully every day, if prayed properly, that is, with recollection, attention, and modesty, not to mention meditation on the mysteries. The Rosary cannot fail to produce abundant fruit of sanctification and love for God. Here, as in everything else, the recitation of this most excellent prayer must spring from a sincere, simple, and humble heart. It is therefore necessary to avoid any spirit of vanity, of wanting to appear and receive the glory of men. We did not give others as distorted image, a caricature of what consecration to the Blessed Virgin is. If we leave it as something purely external, we will do a great disservice either to Our Lady, whom we are not actually serving, or to our brothers, who will judge by our behavior that Marian devotion is nothing more than a boring and meaningless exteriority. Another of the external practices are the preparatory exercises that usually precede the act of total consecration. In the first place, it is necessary to choose a day, generally a Marian feast, to give oneself voluntarily and out of love, entirely and without reservation, to the service of the Blessed Virgin. Then, for a month before the appointed day, it is advisable to make a series of preparatory barriers. During the first 12 days, God is asked to detach from the world, from its pomps, vanities, and distractions, for the spirit of the world is contrary to that of Jesus, so that it is not understandable how anyone could become a saint if he did not hate what abhors our Lord, if, even though he is in a state of grace, he is with the head turned out of his inner castle, admiring and desiring the vain pleasures and false happiness of the world. The next 3 weeks, of 6 days each, naturally, will be devoted to the prayers proposed by Saint Louis Maria is in number 29 onwards of his treatise, even if, due to weakness of certain unforeseen circumstances, we are not able to carry out his prayer script daily, we should still maintain the purpose of consecrate ourselves on the chosen day. The important thing is to persevere, to pick up the work where we left off, and, with trusting eyes fixed on our Heavenly Mother, to give everything to her completely and without reservation. The same is true if, unfortunately, we fall into mortal sin. The solution is nothing but to cry over its serious fault, seek a confessor as soon as possible, and not lose heart. Our Lady will not deny us her help. On the day of consecration, it is necessary to be in a state of grace. It is convenient and recommendable, though not strictly obligatory, to offer some sacrifice to the Virgin Mary, a fast, a mortification, a work of charity, etc. The act of consecration, as the Saint of Montfort advises, should be done immediately after communion. After receiving Christ under the veil of the sacrament, we will make our intimate and personal entrustment to Him by the hand of His Mother, either by reciting the well-known formula of consecration present in the treaty, or by making a firm will to promise to give himself completely in body and soul to the Blessed Virgin. It is not, however, a liturgical rite to be followed to the letter. What is essential is the resolution to live the promises of baptism and the intimate and voluntary act of total surrender to Mary. Finally, it is advisable to renew the consecration at least once a year on the same day as the delivery, observing the same practices for 3 weeks, as an external sign that reminds us that we are now entirely Mary's. We can carry a scapular, a chain, a medal, any image, in short, that discreetly express our slavery of love.